It doesn't take much for the knees to start jerking in the ever-fickle world of football. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needed less than a week to discover the fact. Solskjaer saw individual errors lead to his third defeat in 4. 10 days ago, his appointment as permanent Manchester United boss had fans punching the air and dreaming of title number 21. 5 days later, some were questioning the wisdom of giving him the job, after a third defeat in 4, and a second less than impressive performance on the bounce. Wolves at the door. To be fair, Tuesday's loss at Wolves didn't see the social media platforms flooded so much with angry supporters having a pop. More those we know better than you types, who had already decided United's players were back on easy street now they had the manager they wanted. The Di Matteo syndrome, maybe. Those chin-stroking sages reckon the lethargic win over Watford and subsequent loss at ManUtd are a sign of what is to come. How, if Javi Gracia and Nuno Espirito Santo can outwit Solskjaer, the likes of Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp will chew him up and spit him out. For the record, they did actually beat Watford. And they didn't lose to Wolves because of any tactical mishap. They lost because of individuals having an off day and making mistakes. Those sort of things are not the result of training ground negligence or naivety. It was down to David De Gea, for one, having a shocker and a lack of pace exposed by rapid counters. When he came, it was stumbling along, vitriolic, fractured, flailing in the dark. Negativity and frustration in most positions, most weeks. Phil Thomas. When Ole arrived at United, his overall mission was to turn this giant of a club on its axis and get it moving forwards again. In that respect, it is already job done. Solskjaer has changed the entire outlook of the football club. And not just any club, remember. The biggest in England, possibly Europe. When he came, it was stumbling along, vitriolic, fractured, flailing in the dark. Negativity and frustration in most positions, most weeks. Players wanting out, a manager as uncomfortable as a vegan in a black pudding factory, and fans turning up every week out of a sense of duty rather than expecting wins or entertainment. Solskjaer had 4 targets: unite the club, unite the fans, steady the ship, and get results, with the first 2 pretty much guaranteed merely by his arrival. The third wasn't a given, but still more likely than not given the mess he was inheriting. The fourth was a fingers crossed hope. Yet that, arguably, went best of all. Results have hiccuped a little of late, but they were always going to at some stage. They would if it had been Pep, even Fergie in his pomp. The old revolution. But what Solskjaer has done has changed the entire mindset and mood of the club. He has changed the entire atmosphere and feeling around the place. Players that would otherwise have probably wanted out are now probably going to stay, for all that Paul Pogba is flattered by interest from Real Madrid. Most would be, but that doesn't mean he is off. And for all those who reckon he's gone moody again, this is the man who, for 2 months, was the Premier League's outstanding midfielder. People claim Ole has to stamp his own style on the team. No, he doesn't. His job was to get them playing the United way, the way they did before even Fergie arrived. As the chant goes, 20 times Man United, playing football the Matt Busby way. Now he's in there full time. It is to get them carrying on with that. April 10th, Barcelona H Champions League quarterfinal first leg. April 13th, West Ham H Premier League. April 16th, Barcelona a Champions League quarterfinal second leg. April 21st, Everton at Premier League. April 24th, Manchester City H Premier League. April 28th, Chelsea H Premier League. May 5th, Huddersfield at Premier League. May 12th, Cardiff H Premier League. What Ole needs in that side is a bit of pace at the back, because if they are to play like that, they will always be susceptible to quick counter thrusts, as at ManUtd. If you're playing to the sound of the bugle, you need to make sure the cavalry can run, or you will be exposed. He will know that, and he has a transfer window to put it right, but for now he must live with what he has. If he fails, then, if he shows that he isn't up to it over a period of time, then fair enough. But 3 poor results don't mean he isn't the man for the job, any more than 2.5 months beforehand made him the world's best manager. And as for this talk that the hard work starts now, That's garbage. What it does do is continue now. It started the second he went back to Old Trafford in December. And the past week or so doesn't alter the fact he's done a damn good job of it so far. There really is no getting away from the fact. Ramsey struck his latest goal in the win over Newcastle with every game he plays for Arsenal. The decision to let Aaron Ramsey go in the summer, rather than sort out his contract, looks increasingly ludicrous. Boss Unai Emery has done a lot of good things for the club since he took over. Losing Ramsey for nothing is not one of them. Alfredo Morelos was full of apologies after his fifth dismissal of the season in last week's Old Firm game. Morelos was dismissed for the fifth time this season in the Old Firm derby. That's alright then. All is forgiven. Come back soon and don't do it again. Only he will, however much he protests. No wonder Rangers boss Steven Gerrard is at his wits' end. Stevie knows what it's like to play with a hothead who can lose it in the most innocuous of moments, having lined up alongside a serial offender at Liverpool. But the thing is, unless you're someone with Luis Suarez's talent, your chances eventually run out. For Morelos, that time should be when the second the transfer window reopens. Andy Murray, who made his tennis return from hip surgery with a hit out against a practice wall this week, can take inspiration from Bob Bryan. Bryan won his second title alongside twin brother Mike in Miami since returning from surgery. The U.S. veteran had a hip replacement op in August, but last weekend won the Miami Open doubles with twin brother Mike. At the age of 40, most of us would be happy to be moving pain-free after such an op. No doubt Murray, 31, will take it as proof there is a way back to the top. Ben Murray